don't say
I take him to the grab a hold of him and wrap him, and we'll blow the whistle dead. We'll blow the play dead once you grab a hold of him.
248-539-9797. Let's go to Anthony in Bloomfield. Hi, Anthony.
Hey, how you doing?
What's up?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Go right ahead.
Hey, listen, the guy that talked earlier about the hitting and tackling, that they're two separate things, it's kind of absurd. If this were rugby, and not a game of downs, but a game of inches and possession, you can wrap up and let the guy get extra yards, extra inches, extra feet. But it's not. And inches are everything. So imagine a quarterback diving for the end zone or a goal line stance, and he's diving for the end zone. You're not allowed to hit him now?
No, you are. They're different rules. It's different. Once it becomes a ball carrier, it's game on. Like, he takes off and he runs. He's the same thing as a running back. But if he's in the pocket and he's moving around the pocket, that's different.
Yeah, but again, tackling and hitting, because if he knows you're in pursuit of him, he is going to want to become a runner if you don't tackle him. So if you don't wrap him up and tackle him, he will become a runner. I think we'll all assume that they're going to try to avoid getting sacked and try becoming a runner. So that Clay Matthews hit was absolutely the most perfect textbook hit you could ever see. He drove through him, and it is a game of hitting and a game of tackling, and I don't know how you can confuse the two. Or become something different completely altogether. So that's my question: is how do you separate tackling and hitting? And you can't. They're one and the same. They come together.
Anthony, thank you for the phone call. We go to Craig in Livonia next. Hi, Craig.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Okay.
Good. Hey, I just want to talk about the roughing the passer BS. I said I told your screener I can solve this problem in 5 minutes. You go to YouTube, type in Nick Fairley cheap shot, and you'll see the difference between the Clay Matthews hit and what he does when he's at Auburn, and he also does the same thing to Jay Cutler when he's with the Lions. He not only he drives, he's hitting them from straight on, just like Matthews did, but he wraps, he lifts the guy's body off the ground, and then he drives his shoulder, his chest and his shoulder to drive the quarterback into the turf. There's a huge difference between that and what Matthews did, and I don't understand how the competition committee and the NFL cannot figure that out.
How would you describe the way these games are being officiated, how it's impacted your football viewing?
It's frustrating. I just can't, because, it's already cost the Packers one game. I mean, that game was over with the interception. But it's just frustrating because, just like you said, when you see a great hit, the first thing you do is you look on the ground and see if there's a flag. I watched the state game. I watched I watched a lot of football over the weekend, and it's like every time there's a good hit on the quarterback, I find myself he'll release the ball, and I'll still keep my eye on the quarterback rather than downfield for the ball to see was he hit low.
No, you're right. You're right. That's how I watch football too. It's like that there's a pass rush come in, they get the pass off. You're like, all right, is there a flag or not?
It's just. And and they say also you can't the hit that everyone's saying that caused this whole thing to this body weight thing was the Anthony Barr hit on Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron Rodgers was well out of the pocket running. He was a runner. And he was out of the pocket. Yes, he did square up and release the ball, and then Barr hit him and put his whole weight on him. Well, they're saying, wait a minute, you can't. You can if he's a runner, you can hit him how you want to hit him, but you can't hit him in the pocket.
Well, because when that play you're talking about, Craig, he then turns into a passer because he did release the football.
Well, yeah, you're right. I guess, he did square up, but he was well outside the pocket when it happened.
I got to tell you, Craig, I can sense the exasperation and frustration in your voice.
It just, my brother and I, we're texting the other night, and he's like, how many games is this going to change where the drive, okay, the defense is getting off the field, it's third down, and there you go. It's all of a sudden now you're first, they get the 15 yards, and the drive continues. It's just so frustrating.
You do know we're going to have this show where one of these hits have cost the Lion a win.
Of course.
The Detroit Lions a win. And, I'm sure they did this show in Green Bay after the Minnesota tie. 248-539-9797. From the Karsch and Anderson inbox, I think football will become more of push ball, where you can only shove and push players to the ground. Not quite tackle, but not quite flag either. That's from Pat in Ann Arbor. It has not impacted the game that much yet. There are a few players this is happening to so far, but in a few years, when these calls are being made on all the biggest and baddest players in the NFL, the game will change and become unwatchable. It's from Jay on the road. I'm no longer watching because I've seen too many calls that affect the outcome of the game. It's from an unnamed texter. If you want to see the hit, by the way, the Clay Matthews hit from this past weekend, we tweeted it out. It's linked to the Karsch and Anderson or the 97 Won a Ticket website. Also, you can go there and see who you people selected as champ and chump of the weekend. That's KarschandAnderson.com. Or follow us on Twitter, as we mentioned, at DougandGator971. Usually when we're talking about anything that needs the visual support to be a topic, that's a good reason to follow us on Twitter, at DougandGator971. Let's go to Keith in Detroit. You're next. What's up, Keith?
Hey, good morning. How you doing?
Okay.
You know, football has become difficult to watch for me for all the reasons that you guys have talked about. But I think one of the things that's getting left out of this, aside from Baker Mayfield and Drew Brees, these quarterbacks are some big guys. I mean, Matthew Stafford, 6'3", 230. Cam Newton, 6'5", 6'6", 260. You couldn't even apply in the grass to them because these guys are big enough and strong enough to shake you off if you just try to do an in the grass move on them. And when I look at what happened with Clay Matthews, that's the way we were taught to tackle, with your shoulder, head to the side, and, you know, let your body drive the guy into the ground. How do you defy gravity and physics if you're 300-something pounds, you're running at full speed, or at 270-something pounds? You're running at full speed. You get a guy, you fall on him. We saw what happened with the guy in Miami where he tried to avoid landing on the quarterback and ripped his knee apart. You know, it's really destroying the game. I'm all for protecting the quarterbacks, but these guys are football players, and like I said, they're no longer like the teeny little guys that used to be quarterbacks. These are big, strong guys now.
Thank you for the phone call, Keith. 248-539-9797. We'll get to more of your calls coming up. Also, this could have a major impact in the Big Ten. We'll talk about it today at 12:20.